All right, the next item up for a gear review is a Sansui P-L51 linear tracking turntable. Now, unfortunately, on this particular turntable and the series, there are 3 series, that I'm going to reference, there's just not a lot of information out about this particular turntable or the series as a whole. Let me move this back just a little bit. Sorry about that. Thought I had it set up, but I think Stella bumped it. So we have Sansui P-L51, dimensions were shown. This is kind of it's a smaller, lighter turntable, direct drive, linear tracking. We're going to go over the features and functions here in a second. In fact, let me power this on. And I do have a test record on here. Pop this up, remove the cover. There's a service video on this. This was kind of sort of presented as a time capsule. You know, one that was just kind of stashed in the closet and never really used. And, you know, as I pulled it out of the box, I noticed that it had a couple more scratches than I thought a time capsule would have. But it is in really, really, really good shape, and it's in good working condition, which is important. So in terms of the series that this belongs to, and again, as I did my research, I could not find product brochures or catalogs on any of the series. But what I found was, and this is not going to be an exhaustive list, I found a PL50. I would suspect that that was a different generation. Probably came in a series before this one, but I don't know for sure. There was a PL41, 51, and 71. So according to what I saw, this probably fell right into the middle, kind of a mid-tier Sansui linear tracking turntable. I saw references to people purchasing these in the mid-80s, like 1982 and 1983. So I'm guessing, and by the looks of this, it's early 80s, maybe mid-80s. I don't know for sure. And then there was another series that I think followed this one, and it was there was a PL45, 55, 75, and 95. Now, if I find some additional information, I may include it in the video, but as of today, 10 minutes ago, when I was doing the research for this turntable, I could not find any additional information. I couldn't find any catalogs. I couldn't find any brochures. I couldn't find any hard information in terms of, you know, exactly what series was released when. So we're just going to go with the early to mid 80s on this one, and I think that's pretty safe. Again, it's a linear tracking turntable. It's direct drive. What's really cool about this as I go through the features and functions is it uses an optical sensor in the head shell, so you can actually direct it to play a track, I guess. You can select a track. In fact, let's just go over the features and functions and we'll talk about that. So we have power, and we have the random access program, or the track selection. I believe you can program the track order if you want to on this. At least that's what I gather. There's a button for intro skip if you want to, right? So that just moved it over into position. Let me stop it, move it back. But the cool thing about this is if I want to play track 3, now watch the head shell. Now let's see if it makes a liar out of me, but if I hit 3 and I hit start, it should skip the first 2 tracks. 1, 2, 3 is right there. So it's going to the 3rd track. Then when I'm done, go back. So I think that's pretty cool. We have a repeat button. We have kind of a heads up, not heads up, but like an LCD display. We've got a compu edit, some record, pause, record light or something like that. We have the speed lights. We have a speed and a quartz lock light. We have the start and stop button, which is illuminated. You know, I I think I serviced, it was either a 51 or it might have been a 55 might have been a 45 as well, or 41, as a part of my Goodwill turntable series. And I don't recall the lights being on that one. But anyway, it's kind of cool that they kind of illuminate on the edge. I think that's neat. You have the start and stop button. You have tone arm up and down. You have a manual in or out button. You also have some sensitivity and well, I'll go over these. We have two kind of selector switches up here. We have a sensitivity. Now what I discovered, and you'll see this in the service video, this was set to low. The sensitivity button is for the sensitivity of the sensor. When this was set to low, it would not drop on the first, or like if I picked the second track, it would go beyond the second track. When I put it to high and I hit the second track, it would drop on like the first track, which was kind of weird. But I use test records that are in pretty rough shape. When I set it to middle, or medium, I guess, low, high, and medium, it actually found all of the tracks, just like it did here today. It went right to the third track. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I know I'm kind of getting sidetracked here. One thing to keep in mind on this, if you have a live album, for those that didn't grow up with vinyl records, a live album, even though there might be 5 songs, it's going to be viewed as one continuous track. So this is likely not going to work on a live album, or if you do have a live album, maybe that's when you move it to high. I don't know, right? But as it is right now on medium, it will find every track on every record that I've tested on this. It's only been like 3. And then there's a speed, a normal, and inverse. Now, I believe what that is, so let's say because I have a 33 RPM sized record, right? Since I have one of those on here, it's going to, because it automatically senses the speed and the size, it's going to play this at 33. I think, if I remember correctly, if I do inverse, it will play it at 45. In fact, let's try it out and see if I'm correct. Yeah, see how I went to 45 RPM? So now it's playing it at 45. So I actually remembered something. It's odd for me. So really that speed, norm, and inverse, it's really speed 33 and 45. But remember, as an auto sensing turntable, because I have records that are this size that are 45. So you have to keep that in mind. If you want to play a large record at 45 RPM, you just have to hit that inverse speed button. But it's a pretty cool turntable. It's not real heavy. It's certainly not a 636 or an 838 or 939. One of their big, beefy, heavy turntables. But it is a really cool turntable with these features, right? So you can dial in your record, you can get it to where it has to go, and all of those things. It's a neat turntable. Now this one, I mentioned time capsule. It came in the box. It has all the manuals, all of the transport hardware was in here. You'll see that in the service video because I didn't account for one. This was a pretty simple belt change. So in terms of kind of moving on with what my normal script is, in terms of servicing one of these, as you'll see in the 2 service videos, if it is something simple like a belt, like a routine maintenance service issue, these are really, really, really easy to work on. It's really easy to replace that belt. Now, to get into hardware or, maybe hardcore circuit troubleshooting or logic troubleshooting or something like that, I would say that end of the spectrum would be an advanced and probably not repairable system. I'm sure this uses integrated circuits and logic chips and all those things. And, when those go bad, you can't always replace them. But in terms of the basic service that an owner would have to perform on this, getting to that belt, super easy. Replacing the belt, super easy. Even degunking this probably wouldn't be all that difficult. I don't remember if I had to do that on the one that I worked on as a part of the Goodwill series, but I may have, I may not have, I don't really remember. But I don't remember that one being all that difficult either. So definitely in terms of routine maintenance, beginner. If it's something that's really complicated, like the tone arm is freaking out, you may not even be able to repair it. So that would definitely be an advanced type of situation. So this runs the gambit, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Things to look out for these, or look out for if you are looking for one of these. What I found that was pretty interesting was there weren't a lot of these that sold when I made the video. When I look, at least when I looked a couple of days ago, a lot of the turntables listed, P-L51s listed, were for parts are not working. I suspect most of those probably had a bad belt. But I didn't see a lot of units that were working being sold. Now, if that's different, I'll flash something up here, at this point in the video. But at that point, there were more of these broken than working on eBay. And that's always kind of an indicator to me in terms of how easy they are to break or how complicated they are to fix. Right? Sometimes they're easy to break and easy to repair, no issue. Like I said, if most of those were just a bad belt, simple repair. But if they're easy to break because logic goes bad and integrated circuit fries, something like that, right, then that's a bad sign. That's like saying, okay, this is just going to be a 17-pound or 15-pound boat anchor. You may not be able to repair it. So what I would look out for on one of these is, number one, the operational status. If they show a picture with this cap, this cover removed, or if they say it's missing a belt, might be worth, if it's at the right price, might be worth attempting a repair on it. Beyond operational status, naturally, cover, these would be hard to find. I could not find a cover for the Goodwill series, the two different Sansuis. I think it was a 51 and a 71, or a 55 and a 75. But one had a dust cover that was just beat to snot. Couldn't find a replacement. That was the 55 or 51. Whatever the other one was, the 75 or the 71, I could not locate a replacement cover for it. So parts may be hard to come by on this. So make sure it's complete. Make sure it has, right, this head shell attached. Stylus is a plus. If they take photos with power on, make sure this light is on. It doesn't appear to be flashing, or in the description it's not saying it's flashing, because that may indicate a problem. Make sure this is all illuminated. All of the covers here for like the power button, the track buttons, these aren't broken, right? If it has both of these there, because some of these, if it wasn't auto, if it doesn't have repeat, I think it would be missing there. But so just make sure it's complete, cosmetically complete is I guess what I'm getting at. Feed and all those types of things, because you're probably not going to find parts for these. What might you expect to pay for one of these? Now, as of today, there were some that were listed out there for like $350. I would say that is a price that is probably a little out of whack for these. Even this one as a time capsule, I would have a hard time marking this any more than like $300. And this thing is in really, really, really good shape. Not perfect, but it's in really good shape. 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. Right, $300, $250 to $300, something like that. It does have a stylus that's in perfect condition. So this might be more towards the $300 end of the spectrum. Picking up one of these, if it was working reasonably well, all the lights work, maybe the dust cover's cracked, it's got some scratches, you may have to replace the stylus. I think they're available, if I remember correctly. You can buy a new stylus. You probably cannot get a new cartridge if that's broken. But I would expect, honestly, probably more, maybe in the $200 range, $175, something like that. As of today, when I shot this video, there were only 6 of these that sold, and all of them were or best offer. So I don't know what any of them sold for. But the prices went from $99 to, I think, $300 or $349 or something like that. So I'm just guessing based upon my experience working on all sorts of different turntables and pricing this stuff, that one in good working condition that's in a little bit rougher shape would be around that $200 mark. One that's either not working, missing a dust cover, chewed up, something like that, $100 or less. In fact, the one that I priced that we that we picked up as a part of that Goodwill series. I'm almost positive that has been marked with the cover, I think 100 or 125 bucks, and no one's even nibbled on it. So it's kind of one of those $100 for one that's really rough or broken, $200 for one that's reasonably clean and working, and $300 for one that's in really good condition. I don't know that finding one of these recapped is going to do anything for you, because the integrated circuits could go bad. It would certainly probably maybe give you some more useful life out of it. I don't know how easy it would be to get in here to do that. That's beyond the scope of this video. Recapping anything is, can be really easy, or it can be a total pain in the butt. So I think, getting one of these working, 200 bucks is a good price. Broken, under 100, and in good shape, more than 3. So I think that's gonna end it for the review on this Sansui P-L51. Hopefully I didn't call it a Pioneer. When I did the search upstairs, when I did a search for Sansui P-L71, it kept coming up with Pioneer P-L71. So if I said Pioneer at any point during this, I apologize for that. It's just that Pioneer is on the top of my mind. So good turntable. I wouldn't shy away from one of these, but I definitely would not pay a premium for one either. They don't have like a cult following or anything like that. So I guess that'll wrap it up. So as always, if you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.